You think everything you see in movies is fake, right? Well, what if I told you that some of your favorite actors actually put themselves through real pain, real fear, and real danger for the scenes you love? No stunt doubles, no CGI magic, just pure, unfiltered reality caught on camera. Today, we're diving into the wildest moments when actors weren't acting at all. Let's start with Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. You remember that movie, right? The one where he finally won his Oscar after being snubbed for years. But here's what most people don't know. Leo didn't just act his way to that golden statue. He actually lived through some seriously brutal stuff.
Has been given the job to take this fur trapping unit through the wilderness.
My place is right here on the smart end of this rifle.
Director Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu wanted this film to be as authentic as possible. So what did that mean for Leo? Well, he slept in animal carcasses. Yeah, you heard that right. Real animal carcasses. He ate raw bison liver on camera, even though he's a vegetarian. The cold temperatures during filming were so extreme that the crew could only work for a few hours each day. In interviews, DiCaprio said it was the hardest shoot of his entire career. He told reporters, "I can name 30 or 40 sequences that were some of the most difficult things I've ever had to do." And he wasn't exaggerating. The hypothermia was real. The freezing water scenes? He actually jumped into icy rivers. No warm studio tanks, no temperature control.
Stuff in this movie. It's one of the most interesting films I've ever been a part of because we really submerge.
The bear attack scene that everyone talks about? While they did use CGI for the actual bear, DiCaprio was really being thrown around by stunt coordinators for that sequence. The impact, the rolling down the hill, the absolute brutality of it. All real. Now let's rewind to 1939. The Wizard of Oz is a beloved classic that we've all grown up with. It seems so magical and innocent, right? Wrong. The behind-the-scenes reality was actually terrifying.
Land of Oz, a magnificent empire created in the mind of a man who wrote a great book about it.
Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch of the West, got seriously burned during filming. Remember that scene where the witch disappears in a burst of flames at Munchkinland? That wasn't movie magic going according to plan. The pyrotechnics went off too early, and Hamilton was caught in actual flames. She suffered second and third degree burns on her face and hands.
I thought you said she was dead.
That was her sister, the Wicked Witch of the East.
But it gets worse. Her copper-based green makeup was so toxic that she couldn't eat while wearing it. She had to survive on a liquid diet during filming days. And after her burn injury, they had to wait 6 weeks before she could even wear the makeup again because it was too dangerous for her healing skin. Then there's Buddy Ebsen, who was originally cast as the Tin Man. The aluminum dust in his makeup was so toxic that it coated his lungs, and he ended up in the hospital in critical condition. He had to drop out of the film entirely and nearly died. And poor Judy Garland? She was only 16 years old and was forced to take pills to stay awake during the grueling 18-hour shooting days, then given different pills to help her sleep. The studio controlled everything she ate, trying to keep her thin. This wasn't acting. This was actual suffering for entertainment. Let's jump to something more recent. Django Unchained, 2012. There's this one scene that's become legendary, and for good reason. Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah, him again, slammed his hand down on a dinner table during an intense scene. The table had broken glass on it, and he actually cut his hand open, deep.
These boys' hips here. Thank you ever so much.
But here's where it gets crazy. DiCaprio didn't stop. He didn't yell cut. He kept going with the scene, blood dripping from his hand, and even smeared his real blood on Kerry Washington's face. That wasn't in the script. That was pure improvisation fueled by adrenaline and commitment to the character. Quentin Tarantino, the director, loved it so much that he kept it in the final cut. DiCaprio later needed stitches, but that raw, visceral moment you see on screen, 100% real. The shock on the other actors' faces wasn't acting. They were genuinely concerned and surprised. Stanley Kubrick was famous for being an obsessive perfectionist, But what he put Shelley Duvall through on The Shining was beyond extreme. This wasn't just acting. This was psychological warfare. Kubrick made Duvall do the famous baseball bat scene 127 times, 127 takes. Her hands were blistered and raw from gripping the bat. She was dehydrated from crying so much. The terror you see on her face, that's not acting. That's a real person being pushed to their absolute breaking point. Kubrick deliberately isolated Duvall from the rest of the cast and crew. He had other actors dismiss her concerns and ignore her on set. He wanted her to feel alone and unstable, just like her character. In interviews years later, Duvall said the filming was so traumatic that her hair started falling out. This wasn't method acting. This was a director intentionally tormenting an actress to get a genuine reaction of fear and desperation, and you can see it in every frame. When she's crying, hyperventilating, looking absolutely terrified, that's all real. Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now is legendary for how insane the production was. The entire shoot was a nightmare that lasted 238 days in the Philippine jungle, and Martin Sheen paid a heavy price. In the opening scene where Sheen's character has a breakdown in a hotel room, Sheen was actually drunk, completely intoxicated. When he punches the mirror and blood goes everywhere, that's his real blood. The complete breakdown you're witnessing isn't a performance. It's a real human being falling apart. But it gets worse. Halfway through filming, Martin Sheen had a massive heart attack. He was only 36 years old. He nearly died in that jungle. He had to crawl out to the road to get help because he couldn't stand. The production shut down while he recovered, but incredibly, he came back to finish the film. Sheen later said he was drinking heavily during the entire production, dealing with the stress and the heat and the chaos. Director Coppola himself said making the film nearly destroyed him. This wasn't a movie set, it was a battlefield of egos, addiction, and genuine mental breakdowns. Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ is one of the most intense religious films ever made, and Jim Caviezel went through actual torture to play Jesus. Caviezel was struck by lightning during filming. Actual lightning. He also dislocated his shoulder carrying the cross. He suffered from pneumonia and hypothermia during the crucifixion scenes because they were filming in freezing temperatures and he was nearly naked. But the most brutal part? The whipping scene. While they used prosthetics for some of it, Caviezel was actually hit multiple times by mistake. The actor wielding the whip accidentally struck him, causing real wounds. In interviews, Caviezel described the experience as transformative but absolutely agonizing. He also developed severe infections from the makeup and prosthetics used to create the wounds on his body. The production was so intense that Caviezel said it changed him permanently. This wasn't just acting. It was genuine physical suffering in the name of authenticity. Denzel Washington's transformation into Malcolm X was so complete that it went beyond performance into something almost spiritual. Washington fully immersed himself in Malcolm X's life, studying his every movement, his every speech pattern. But here's what's wild. Denzel actually traveled to Mecca and completed the Hajj pilgrimage as part of his preparation. He converted to Islam temporarily to understand Malcolm X's faith journey. This wasn't research. This was living as another person. Washington later said that he felt Malcolm X's spirit with him during filming. The speeches you see in the movie, those aren't just memorized lines. Denzel channeled something real, something that transcended acting. Crew members reported getting chills watching him perform because it felt like Malcolm X had actually returned. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the real moments behind the movies, smash that like button and subscribe for more content about the wild world of filmmaking. Drop a comment below telling me which of these stories shocked you the most. Did I miss any crazy moments where actors went through real experiences on camera? Let me know.